Jenn Leung is a lecturer, researcher, and simulation developer investigating the intersections of neuroscience, computation, and real-time media. Jenn is a lecturer at the London College of Fashion, UAL. She also researches at Life Fabs Institute and the Bartlett, UCL. Her work is shown at Oz, Electronica, and Taekwon. And she collaborates with Daniel Felsted on commissioned films for Art.
So yes, so the central question of this summit is, what does luxury even mean today? Certainly the growing social and economic inequalities, declining standards of living, at least from a kind of Western perspective, and life expectancies. For many of us, any semblance of experiencing something more than survival is itself a luxury we can barely afford. And as we sit here today in the middle of the Fashion Week circus, with the musical chairs of creative directors and fashion houses in full flow, we are told that even the luxury fashion market is in crisis. Sales are down, profits in freefall, growth stagnant. But as the recent Highsnobiety white paper, Luxury Redefined, states, luxury itself cannot, by definition, be in crisis. Instead, what is in crisis is the fashion market's legitimacy in determining fashion, luxury, in capturing it, in containing it, in capitalizing it. So what does the drop in sales and growth stagnation indicate? Rather than a crisis in luxury per se, perhaps it points to luxury fashion brands' failure to acknowledge that luxury has moved on, that it has transformed, that it has become or becoming something new. So what even is luxury today? Rather than try to give an easy answer to this, I would like to offer, in this kind of introduction, just some small opening remarks on how we might begin to understand luxury in general. So drawing on the work of George Bataille, among others, prominent scholar of luxury John Armitage defines luxury as fundamentally shaped through excess. Luxury as an excess of necessity, of basic use and needs. Luxury as an excess of material reality, as the manifestation when material objects, places and things are infected with the imaginary, that to be aspirations, emotions, desires and associations. Luxury as an excess of social norms, as the capacity to escape from ourselves, our identities, our basic conditions of asserting individual sovereignty or self-determination through an experience or sensation. Luxury as an excess of morals, as vice, corruption and indulgence. Luxury as an excess of fixity, as something always becoming, always speculative, always singular. Luxury as an excess of measure, as abundance, poetry, eroticism and seduction. So perhaps we can understand luxury as a kind of medium of excess, a means of harnessing it, of anchoring it, of fashioning it into existence. So with that, I would like to thank you all for coming and hope you enjoy the summit. And now we're gonna do a quick transition where Jenn and myself switch roles. Yeah, so over to Jenn.
Hello, hi everyone. Okay, everything's in place. So, hi everyone. For those of you joining online, you might have not known me before, but my name's Jenn, and I'm also a lecturer here in the Fashion Communication program. My practice, I'm kind of like also independently a creative technologist. So today the introduction will be short and hopefully really sweet. It's going to be light touches on the kind of three pillars of the summit. So on fashion, luxury, and our bodies. Over the years in our summits, we've looked at the emergence of platforms, the metaverse, gaming, and AI as our main subjects. We were really interested to see how certain technologies and changes in infrastructure are changing the way we see fashion. This year, however, we've become more curious about the operation itself. By operation, I mean we're interested in the ways our bodies are processing this amount of excess in the current media and communication space. So much of the last decade, we were dominated by a scarcity mindset. Fashion and exclusivity were defined by lack, what you don't have, what you're not invited to, what you're missing out on. It seems like now we've done an 180-degree maneuver where generative AI and this kind of generative culture we experience now is in complete abundance. Now, abundance isn't always beautiful, but also they reveal to us the abundance of horrors and contradictions we live in too. Images now arrive faster than attention, products faster than desire, cycles faster than meaning, and wars and genocide beyond sense. If we were praying for a fully automated luxury communism in 2018, and I quote my friend bestie Yanis here, it seems like what we've got today is instead a fully automated luxury capitalism. In the summit today, we ask how luxury, fashion, and our bodies have changed. So let's look at luxury first. Luxury used to be an aura, a status signification, a fetish, or a speculative asset. But nowadays, it seems that luxury also collapses into slop, memes, or Labubu keychains. Trying to skip to the next slides. And I think it's a bit, okay, let me go again. Okay, and fashion used to be an industry and operation that also transforms, models, and rigs luxury onto our bodies. Currently, how does fashion transcribe the notion of luxury onto our bodies when luxury itself is already in crisis? And while fashion enables our bodies to seek for representation, repackaging, and mystification, modification, and extension, what are our bodies being modded into? So luxury is in crisis and at a tipping point. The white paper that Daniel was just referring to is the High Snobiety white paper that released this year. And part of the white paper discusses how, at a tipping point, old-fashioned model, the dream world built on exclusivity, inflated prices, and artificial hype is crumbling. This white paper also reveals how luxury just feels a little off right now, but it also questions if luxury can ever be in crisis. If luxury is this thing that's lifted from the ground, a state of extravagance for the high fashion industry, can the peak ever meet rock bottom? There's also the idea that the lemon is already squeezed dry, but can there be more juice if you just try a little harder? While the growth rate of true luxury fashion companies like Hermes, Gucci, Louis Vuitton have dived down to 0%, spending on luxury products among Gen Z and across all other age groups have actually increased and moved elsewhere. So where has this gone? I started to wonder if this wholesale scandal of behind luxury fashion brands is to blame. I wondered if this was the Shanghai second wave, where the Shanghai wins this time for real. Earlier this year, in response to US tariff changes, Chinese wholesale factories, whether genuine or Shanghai, have decided to dox their kind of luxury endpoints. They claim that they are the original makers of these fancy European brands, and in fact, these brands don't make a difference as long as you purchase the same materials and craftsmanship from the same source. We started to see how a series of TikToks are riding now on scamming and drop shipping for Western consumers, because technically you're buying the same thing, right? Yet very few seem to have fallen into the trap. Perhaps factory doxing does reveal the guts of the fashion industry. It breaks the fourth wall by reminding people how it all really works and what their money is actually going into. But to many, this seems to be a massive turnoff. It punctures the fetish a little by reinserting the concept of utility, but it doesn't feel luxurious to know how it's made. Meanwhile, Essence also went bankrupt or is going through the process of bankruptcy. Many people believe that this is also for the tariffs are to blame for this, but it seems a little long time coming with these e-commerce platforms as they fall like dominoes. Perhaps because true luxury will always escape in order to sustain its own fantasy, whether by pricing up or going elsewhere for more profit margins. And arguably the most successful Hong Kong cultural export, Labubus are a perfect example of this. Compared to timeless designs or Rimowa suitcases or Miu Miu shoes, Labubus burn like matches, also as my friend Yana says. Let me try to play this video. There's also the theory that these Labubus are linked to ancient demons. And luxury these days operate like the burn, faster indulgence operating at smaller costs and produces and promising more future surpluses and also providing us with more of life's little luxuries. If sales aren't rocking at all, how does luxury still exist? Marek Pollex and Roberto Trio, in their new book, Exo-Capitalism, speculated that it's because now everything operates like a bank that converts sales on ground to speculative finance vehicles. And if these sales aren't rocking for LVMH, what are we doing here? So LVMH isn't interested in selling garments, but the brand universe also allows itself to tag onto other businesses. For example, partnering with F1, doing NASA spacesuits, but also recently investing in Dishoom, doing an additional layer of professional gambling. And luxury fashion, as we know it, seems to be morphing into something else. The new luxury seems to exist at exactly the intersection of peak and rock bottom, of production and generative surplus, as well as attention deficit. We're now overstimulated but undersatisfied. For many years, we've tracked and traced vibe shifts, microtrends, and the next big thing in fashion. Now it feels impossible for us to anticipate anything else. We've been edging too much, but we finally reached the edge. If this is what Mark Fisher called the slow cancellation of the future, what if the twist is that the future cannot be cancelled and only piles up as backlog or queue? At that tipping point, excess becomes excession, the feeling of being over the edge and exceeding the bounds so far that you have no idea where you are. You become a confused vector on the map. George Bataille famously believed that luxury has no end beyond itself. It's always been a wasteful pleasure, a mode of surpassing profit, utility, productivity, and sometimes survival. I love these praying hoodies. And this is going to be a bit of an ad here, but recently Daniel and myself, as well as two graduates, Red and you, have released our latest film called Welcome to Jank Space Babes.
Do you sense that you are living in a world that literally makes no fucking sense? A world that's made to make you feel like you're going like batshit crazy? A world whose fucked up kink is to continually gaslight you?
So the film is already out on disc, so please feel free to watch it.
Reality. It mediates reality.
In the
through
film, we
action,
also discussed the
distilling the most
phenomenon of
popular vibes,
excess in
sentimental
AI slop
ideological
and model
aesthetic,
collapse in
until
jank
all that's left
space.
is pure,
Platforms
uncut
now
attention.
generate and consume themselves even when there's nothing to chew on, and even collapse becomes content. There's clearly a structural breakdown in the representational system where the maps aren't working for us to navigate the worlds. These contradictions always bring us back to the body, where speculations collapse into experience. So, as we always ask in the beginning of every summit, what is the role of the body? And looking at all the fuel here on the internet, how do we metabolize this endless stream of digital slop? In The Abundance of Slop, Kate Crawford also writes, "Slop is waste, but it's also fuel. But what futures does slop fuel?" The artist Anna Udenberg also explores how the body now becomes a negative space for capitalism, acting as a vessel or a void that capital fills rather than a site of genuine experience. As bodies or confused vectors or evolving monsters trying to understand this space, what kind of organisms are we growing into? And
Are the thinkers?
are these bodies thinking at all? Without further ado, please allow me to introduce our thinkers of the day, and we're going to pass it to Flora and join her on Zoom.